that morning is I needed it because I wasn't going to get one later. Sunday school was wonderful. And I didn't know that I wasn't going to get to sing. Here's the funny thing. You know how, if you're in the praise team, 9:45, we better be on stage and we better be singing. 9:45, because we need to get started on time. And we got out a little bit late, and of course, Miss Diane, the snacks are wonderful. And me and John Jr. were sitting back there, and I had a half a sausage biscuit and a muffin. And I looked at my clock and I said, "Woo! It's 9:47." And that's code to me and John get on stage. And so I went over to Diane and I got another muffin. And put it on the plate. And I went and took it right back here. Oh, no, it's not. I got it. I got it. Ask him. I got it. I still got it. I got it and put it up right before I got on here, showed it to him, said, "This was back here from Sunday." I put it over there, and this is miracle number one. Well, miracle number one was the message in the morning. I just didn't know I needed it till later. Miracle number two, I'm back there, and it's 9:47, okay? We're supposed to start at 9:45. Y'all know this, okay? And it's 9:47. And I'm a talker. You can ask Miss Moni about that. And something in me just came to my thought. Go talk to Miss Pat and tell her that her nephew is your son's t-ball coach. That's not important as opposed to singing at 9:45. But I gave in. Because first thought was, I've got to be on stage. If I go talk to Miss Pat, I'm a talker. They'll start playing and I'll be down here talking. But I went. Guess where Miss Pat was? She was 5 feet from John John. Okay? 5 feet from John John. And I was here and I saw her there. John John was in the seat, but I was slow walking, wasn't hurrying, was waving at people as I went by. And get back there, going to talk to, don't realize that John John's on the floor. But then Candace starts just screaming at me, saying, "He's not responding." And she's, John John. Well, he's here. And CPR training went out the window, sorry. No calmness, no look for the bus to see if it's about to hit everybody. Just rush over there, and by the time I get there, he's in her arms. And she's heading toward the door, so I'm heading towards the door, and I'm like, there was no check and see the life sign. I had no clue. I thought he was choking. Because the last time I sat with him, he was eating something. So I thought, fall, choke. We get out there, and miracle number 3, Jeff Evans is out there, and he's late to church. Theme of the day. Okay? Remember, it was 9:47 when I was here. It probably was like 9:50 something out there with Jeff. Okay? And I'm trying to get to my car, and I didn't need to drive. I needed to tend to him. And I'm doing this because he's trying to pass him. And he sees that something's up because he sees the worry on my face, and he hops out and says, "What's going on?" And Miss Kathy says, "Drive them to the hospital." He had visitors in the backseat of his truck, too, by the way. Welcome to Lighthouse. And we hop in the back of the truck, and they're there, and they go with us all the way to the hospital. And guess what? Now we're in the car. CPR training kicks in. I thought he was choking. I didn't talk to Candace to see that he had a seizure. So I'm sitting here whacking him on the back, trying to get, Heimlich maneuver and doing everything that I think I know how to do. Because I've been trained. Go to pry his mouth open because you're supposed to check for the object to make sure the object is not there. And I go to look in and not there. Then I realized that his teeth are not opening, so I really can't look. I knew seizure right then because his mouth was locked up. But he was blue. I mean, he was blue as your jeans. And it was scary. You can't get those images out of your head as much as you want to, as much as you pray about it. It's not going. It's not going to leave, and I wouldn't have it leave. And his eyes were rolling back in his head, and it was scary. I mean, this ain't the first. I've dealt with. If he was bleeding, just stick a Band-Aid on it. My dad taught me that. My dad was the Band-Aid man. Me and my brother, I busted my head open. The scar's still here. John has one to match from the treehouse. So we have matching scars. Mine come from pushing a four-wheeler cart that in a warehouse, and I pushed it forward, let go, popped me in the head. I was about 5 years old. My brother's carrying me and him. We're both wearing our Ninja Turtle t-shirts, and there's blood all over both of them. And Daddy cleans it up, sticks a Band-Aid on it. No stitches. A Band-Aid is the only stitch that you need. Okay. I can deal with blood. I couldn't deal with what happened Sunday. I couldn't fix it. The only thing I could think to do is, and it's silly, but in my thought process, when they put those masks on to give oxygen and they're pressing, it's on their nose and their mouth. So if I can't get it in the mouth, and God is my witness, and Candace's like, "What are you doing?" I'm blowing in his nose. Okay, I'm gonna get that oxygen in there, and boogers and all. I don't care. I'm saving my son. And didn't work. Still blue. Still blue. Holding him in my arms. I take him away from Candace. I got him in my arms. All I could think to do was I started saying Jesus. And I'm crying and I'm saying Jesus. I'm not saying anything but Jesus. I'm not saying Jesus save him. I'm not saying heal him. I'm saying Jesus. And that's all I'm saying. Ask Jeff, he was in the car. And I'm just saying Jesus, and Jeff went through every red light that there is between here and there, and he broke the law in more ways than we can imagine. But I'm in the back seat of that car saying, Jesus, Jesus, my son, Jesus. And Candace says his color's coming back. Starts grunting and breathing and moaning, and it's just the happiest sound I've ever heard out of my son in my life. And it just made me happy. He's not blue. He's getting his color back. And Jeff's in the front seat saying, "Oh, that's the happiest sound from a baby I've ever heard." We get to the hospital. Of course, they rush us right back. Nurse is eating lunch. There's not a lot of busyness going on Sunday in Alabama. There's a lot of people in church are sleeping in. But rushed him right back. And his color's there. I already see the miracle going on, but I wouldn't see that it would be a big miracle till later. They do the test. He's there, and John, you can tell he's scared, even though he's not really there, but you can just tell. And Candace is filling out paperwork. Yeah, you rush you back, but they still want you to fill out the paperwork. They don't matter if could be a death situation. They got to have the paperwork. She's filling out the paperwork, and I'm there, Daddy. This would have never happened unless I had him in my arms. I'd have been the one stuck with paperwork, because you know moms. But because I had him in the arms, they pulled her to do paperwork. And I had him in my arms. I'm so glad. Because I'm holding him, and they're looking at him, and he's laying there telling the nurses what happened. I said, John, Daddy and Jesus is here. I kept saying, Daddy and Jesus is here. His little hands went like this. He held his hands together. And they stayed like that for 10 minutes while they're working on him. I know what my son looks like when we pray at night, and it's this. A little teepee. And his hands, he was laying down, and you could just see his hands right there. They weren't up. They were just together in prayer format. And they stayed like that for 10 minutes. Daddy and Jesus is here. He put his hands together, and you could hear him grunting and moaning. I don't know what he was praying to God. But when they ran their little test, they did their little CAT scan, and they did their x-ray, there was nothing wrong with him. Nothing. They couldn't find anything. They said febrile seizure happens to all kids. No, there was something wrong. Because you don't just get a fever out of the blue. Some illness, but they couldn't find it. We went Monday and they did a blood test. They couldn't find it on Monday. They couldn't find it on Sunday. They couldn't find it on Monday. They can't find it today. Because there's nothing. Because when I said Jesus, not only did He take care of the seizure, but whatever caused it was taken care of too. Because God doesn't heal part, He heals all. And me and Candace, we still worry. If you want to know what to pray for, pray we stop worrying and we just trust God. Because when God healed everything, He healed everything. And if it happens again, He'll heal it that time too. Because God's still in the miracle business. It didn't stop 2,000 years ago when this book was written. It still happens today. And so when you have people that come to you and they say, how do you believe in that God? Tell them about the stories in the Bible, but then you tell them about John. You tell them about your own John story. That God did something for you. Because that's how we tell others today that Jesus, they don't want to hear stories sometimes. They want to hear your story. Why you believe. And you tell them that. Because Jesus is still real today and His name still works.